Not my type, maybe. So how can I help? Asked Chase. Harmony sighed. I'm fine, Chase. She circled her hands around Mr. Fluffy's cat brush. Small tufts of fur caught in the spring breeze. She felt the familiar tingle as she called upon her divination magic, as if reality gave way just a little bit to let her see beyond the veil. The magic yanked her towards Pegasus Park. She gave a curt nod and began a brisk pace down the sidewalk. Chase, slightly taller and a werewolf, was able to easily keep pace. How come you never cast spells? Asked Chase. I'm using magic right now, Chase, said Harmony. Right, but most arcanes use words. You don't, Chase responded. Harmony just smirked and shook her head. Not all magic users or gifted are equal in power, said Harmony. Other than my sixth sense with my sister, my magic is pretty limited to knowing the direction of a person, place, or thing. So you're like a GPS, asked Chase. Harmony groaned in annoyance. Yes, Chase, I'm like a GPS. Cool, said Chase. There were a few beats of silence as the two of them crossed the street corner to get to the park's entrance. Chase, I'm fine, really. I appreciate your concern, but I don't need your help, said Harmony. She reflexively picked up her pace as she felt the pull of magic grow stronger. She was getting closer to the missing feline. I know, said Chase, keeping stride. But Katie can't help because she's finally back on shift after recovering from her last case. Chase smiled. So I figured I'd be a good packmate and help out. Harmony stopped and turned, folding her arms across her chest. Her expression was untrusting. Chase stopped too, but kept his arms down by his side. Harmony pointed her finger at his broad chest as she spoke. Are you trying to impress Katie or me? Chase swallowed hard. You. Harmony laughed out loud, pulling a few other park patrons' attention. She refocused her attention on her magic and could sense Mr. Fluffy was still close. Chase, who had been stunned by her response, caught up with her. What was that? What was that? Repeated Harmony, mirth evident in her voice. What is this? She motioned with her hand between the two of them. Nothing, I'm just trying to help, Chase said. You just said you were trying to impress me, stated Harmony. Can't it be both? Said Chase, a hint of charm in his voice. Harmony turned on him fast. No, she said, it can't. She then turned and stomped off from the park's field into a canopy of maple trees. She hadn't gone 30 feet before she saw a flash of magic, a small tear in reality, a full-dimensional pocket. Chase stood beside her, tense. While not arcane himself, supers could sense things that are off. Heck, even regular normies could, just at a lower frequency, like goosebumps, a chill down their spine, or déjà vu. Harmony, realizing that Chase couldn't see it, grabbed his hand and pulled him forward with her. Chase was so surprised by her touch that he followed her as a reflex instead of standing his ground. From one step to the next, the two of them found themselves in a small wooded grove. The trees encircling the area were large oaks. As they cautiously crept forward, they noticed a clear water spring where 3 deer, a mountain lion, and a large furry tuxedo cat lapped at the water. A harmonious voice called out, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty," followed by the slight jingle of a bell. Mr. Fluffy jerked towards the voice and bounded up onto a moss-covered rock cropping where a woman attired in a green sundress rested. Mr. Fluffy readily nestled himself into her lap, as she absent-mindedly petted him and fed herself strawberries. Faye? Of course, Harmony muttered before stepping further into the clearing. She cleared her throat to make her presence known. Chase made to grab at her, but just missed. Rolling his eyes and swearing under his breath, he made his way next to her. The 3 deer had run off deeper into the woods, while the mountain lion bounded up to the woman and sat beside her, its eyes narrowed. The woman herself looked upon Harmony and Chase with mild amusement. It would seem I need to hire a doorman, she gestured to Mr. Fluffy. First this cat, now you two. Harmony smiled. Sorry for. She paused as she finally took in her surroundings. The small clearing was serene in every sense. Beyond the pond, the very warmth of the sun was perfect, but the canopy offered sufficient protection from its rays. The oak trees were precisely spaced, each strong and vibrant in trunk and foliage. Harmony refocused herself. Sorry for the intrusion. I am actually looking for the cat currently in your lap. The little girl whom he belongs to is missing him terribly." The woman chuckled to herself. "You humans and your need to own other living things. So perplexing." She shrugged her shoulders. "Well, you're more than welcome to him. I do wonder, though, if you could do me a favor?" Both Harmony and Chase, who had stepped up beside Harmony, stiffened at the request. "Of course," said Harmony, keeping her tone light and cheery, despite her rising fear. "Wonderful," the woman clapped her hands. The act startled Mr. Fluffy, who meowed at the woman. She gave his chin a scratch and whispered something close to his ear, then motioned him towards Harmony and Chase. Mr. Fluffy lazily stretched and then gingerly made his way off the rock, outcropping and over to the two of them, jumping up into Chase's arms. Chase gave Harmony a surprised look but made no motion to leave. "So what do you need help with, miss?" asked Harmony. "Fiona," said the woman. Then she snapped her fingers, and Harmony found a scrap of parchment in her hand. It read, "Flowers, cake, champagne, and candles." Chase looked over the list and then shrugged. Will just any of these things do?" asked Harmony, her tone hesitant. "Oh, goodness, no," said Fiona, "but a woman with your arcane talent should be able to divine them out." Harmony forced a mirthless laugh. Of course, Fiona could tell what her magic was. "Right, but my magic is just good at finding things or animals in general." Harmony noticed Fiona eyeing Mr. Fluffy. "Without a connection of some kind, that is," amended Harmony as she held up Mr. Fluffy's hairbrush. Mr. Fluffy meowed loudly as he noted the hairbrush. Chase, with his free hand, grabbed it and began to brush Mr. Fluffy, who nestled deeper into the crook of his arm and began to purr. "Well, despite that limitation, I've no doubt you'll pull through." Fiona smiled coolly at both of them. "Right, so we'll just go and get these and be back then," Harmony said. She turned, and Chase quickly followed. "No rush," called Fiona just before they stepped out. "But do return before 4 tonight if you don't mind." 2 hours later, nearing 2 o'clock, the pair had successfully returned Mr. Fluffy to his family and made their way first to the Witch's Brew Bakery, where, thankfully, they had encountered the owner, Amelia, who had just finished baking some moss-green-colored frosted cupcakes of tranquility and peace. Amelia had a way of adding a touch of magic to everything she baked. Harmony unsurprisingly felt no magic tingle, but bought a dozen of the cupcakes. Then off to Keg and a Barrel. There, Chase was able to sniff out an apple rose champagne. Harmony's divination sense was still silent, so she just agreed with Chase's choice. For the flowers at Evergreen and Rosemary, Harmony went with a bouquet of roses, lavender, sunflowers, and jasmine. Harmony had a feeling Fiona would appreciate the variety. Still no magic tingle, but she trusted her own intuition. The flower combination she chose wouldn't normally be possible until late summer. But Heather, the owner, had a gift with plants, making rare flowers possible all year round. Her flower shop was in high demand for weddings and birthday celebrations, to say the least. Finally, Harmony stepped out of something nice, which specialized in candles, perfumes, cologne, and potpourri. She had picked up a variety of eloquent candles and aromas. Her magic, once more, was silent as the grave. Harmony wasn't even disappointed. If anything, the fact that her magic needed more than a list to work was reassuring. Magic itself wasn't sentient, but it did have a tendency to act on the needs and emotions of its wielder. But as Harmony had such a limited amount of power, it was oddly comforting to know her limits. Chase had opted out of the last store, his lycan nose too sensitive for such an assault of manufactured aromas. Flowers were one thing, but potpourri was a monster of its own accord. Chase was at Pizza Dough, Normal's most popular pizza place. He was sitting outside under an umbrella with their previous purchases and lunch. He called Harmony over once he noticed her. Harmony added her collection to the pile once she made her way over. Sitting on their table was a large meat lover's pizza and 2 sodas. Harmony's eyes lit up at the sight. She wasted no time getting a large slice for herself. After a couple of bites and a swig of soda, Harmony felt herself begin to relax. She not only had a successful rescue and return with Mr. Fluffy, but she'd managed to book a second job, too. Well, she hoped so anyway. One couldn't be too careful with the Fae. "Can I ask you something?" said Chase as he took another slice. Of course, said Harmony. Earlier, when I said I was helping you to impress you, you got upset and I was just wondering if I did something wrong. Chase's words started to run together a little bit the more he talked. Harmony considered him a moment, a look of amusement on her face. No, Chase, you did nothing wrong, she started. It's just that you really like girls. Chase looked confused. Yeah, most guys do. Even some girls like girls, too. Harmony shook her head. No, Chase, I mean you just like girls. Chase's confused look didn't change. I mean, I guess I could pretend to like boys if that's your thing. Harmony had made the mistake of taking a swig of her soda as Chase was responding. Big mistake. Harmony had reflexively inhaled, causing the soda to enter her airway. She immediately dove for napkins to cover her mouth, as a coughing fit began to rack her whole body for 5 minutes. Harmony finally calmed down. Chase was kneeling beside her, rubbing her back in a circular motion. Harmony playfully swatted him off. Chase, she finally got out. That is not what I meant. Chase was smiling as he took his seat. Yeah, I know, but couldn't help myself. Harmony took another moment to compose herself before she responded. Chase, we have known each other most of our lives, running in the same friend groups. He nodded. I am fully aware of your, Harmony gestured her hands in the air nonsensically, history. Chase responded by making the ASL letter H and tapping it in the air twice. That's the ASL sign for history. Harmony sighed. Chase subdued his smile, then said, Look, I know that I have a reputation. Harmony snorted. Sorry, she admonished after Chase gave her a look. Anyway, I know that I have a reputation, but I've been reevaluating some things the last couple of months, finished Chase. Harmony, after tentatively taking another swig of soda and grabbing another slice of pizza, considered Chase for a moment. Why? Why what? Why are you reevaluating things? Well, I've just realized that maybe there's something more to just hooking up and one-night stands, said Chase. Harmony wasn't buying it. Chase, this is me you're talking to. Spill it. Chase was clearly hesitant to respond as he took a large bite out of another slice. Fine, his tone defeated. I'm not lying. I do want to try, because I've seen a few people coupling up, those mutual friends of ours. Harmony responded with a softer smile. Okay, I can get that, wanting to see if you're actually missing out on anything. But why me? Chase's full smile returned at that question. Because we're friends, not super close, but friends. You know me and I know you. He was ticking off figures with each point. And if I'm being honest, I want to try this with someone I trust. Harmony nodded at that. Chase, that's great. But don't you think you should try to find someone who really sparks your interest? You do, he said quickly. Right, but as a friend. Do you really just want to date a friend? If you think you're ready for something more serious, said Harmony. Chase has opened his mouth to respond, but closed it. He finished his slice. I don't know, he finally admitted. The two of them stepped back through the portal and found themselves back in Fiona's grove. What was once a sunny pocket of peace and perfection was now an evening of moonlight. To Harmony's surprise, fairy lights were strung all about, and near a side clearing was a gazebo that she was quite certain wasn't there before. Underneath was set a lovely, intimate setting of 2 chairs, dessert plates, and flute glasses. It was obvious Fiona had worked her magic about the grove, or time just passed differently here. Probably both. Welcome, said Fiona, stepping out from behind a tree. She somehow appeared more beautiful and radiant, wearing an elegant silk dress of gold. Harmony couldn't help but gasp. You look gorgeous, she said. Whoever's your date tonight, they are very lucky. Fiona laughed, a hint of melody to it. Why, thank you. She stepped past the two of them, and then, turning to Chase, have fun. I'll be back in a couple of hours. She then stepped through the gate and out into normal. Harmony's face was confused. Why had Fiona just left without taking anything? And why did she just wish for her and Chase to have fun? She looked down at the couple of things she was carrying, and then at the gazebo before turning her attention to Chase, who was currently hustling to the gazebo. Chase, come back here, Harmony snapped as she made her way after him. Can't hear you over the silence, yelled Chase as he made his way to the table. It's too quiet. Harmony caught up to him a moment later. Explain. Chase sighed. He put down his bags and took Harmony's. He began taking things out, completing the finishing touches to the romantic setting. So, started Chase, I may have tricked you into going on a first date with me. Harmony had many thoughts run through her head at that admission, one of which was trying to figure out how to drown Chase in the pond. But then she took a deep breath and unclenched the fists from her side. She would allow him to explain first, then destroy him. Let's start from the beginning, then, Harmony said. Chase pulled back one of the chairs and gestured for her to sit. Harmony reluctantly approached and took the offered seat. Chase, before sitting, poured champagne into each glass and placed a cupcake on each plate. Mr. Fluffy? Fiona runs a pet daycare. This was her day off, so no extra animals, said Chase. So Cat wasn't missing? No, the items Fiona asked for. Stuff for our date. I wanted to make sure you picked out things you would like, said Chase, hesitancy in his voice. If I had asked you directly, you would know something was up. So you had me plan my own date? Yes, but not all of it, Chase motioned to the setup around them. I paid for most of it, said Harmony, frustration evident in her voice, because I foolishly thought I'd be reimbursed, and then some for what I thought was a second job. I got your IOU app information from Katie and already paid you back for everything, said Chase. Harmony took out her phone and read the payment notification. Sure enough, he had repaid every cent. It made sense now why he took each receipt after each store and asked to see the last one after they finished lunch. Harmony had to admit Chase had done everything right, minus the deception to get her here. He had been honest at lunch about his interest. He hadn't gotten upset at her rejection. And if she was completely honest, he did make her feel safe, the benefit of their history together. She was still frustrated and annoyed, but he hadn't done anything intentionally to hurt her. Harmony took a breath. Fine, Chase. Chase went from looking like a wounded puppy who was getting scolded for knocking over a potted plant to confused. What's fine? He asked. Fine, repeated Harmony. I take back my rejection. We can date. Really? Chase said. His tone was a mixture of excited uncertainty. Really, with one condition, Harmony said. Anything, answered Chase. We will revisit, Harmony motioned between the both of them, us in 1 month. Okay, then what? Asked Chase. Harmony sighed. Then if we're both happy, we'll see about continuing this and go from there like regular people who are dating. Chase was nodding at each of her words. Sure, fine, whatever you want, his smile getting brighter. I'm just glad you're not angry. Oh no, Chase, said Harmony. I'm angry, I'm just more impressed than angry. Chase shrugged. I'll take it, his smile and joy not diminishing in the slightest. For being a werewolf, he was giving off golden retriever energy. Harmony couldn't help but shake her head. She wasn't sure this was the best idea. But Chase was right. They were friends, and despite his history with girls, he was a loyal friend. Maybe he could be a loyal boyfriend. He certainly put in a fair amount of effort to get her to go on a date with him. Worst case, he got bored in a month, and she could wash her hands of the whole thing. Or maybe, just maybe, she found a keeper.